Now, before everyone starts rushing into the comment section to say, "Oh Ray, you're so wrong, you have no idea what you're talking about," please listen to me, watch the entire video. I think I really built up a very good case why the NFT market is in a bubble and why this is going to crash. So as always, before you're going to dive in, please do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, click the bell, click, and also if you don't miss anything, leave me a comment, share this video with your friends if you think that's useful. Let's get started. So it's no surprise that the NFT market is absolutely booming right now. Valuations are going completely to the roof. And every now and then we see the media popping up saying that we are due for a correction, this is bubble, we are going to crash, but so far that hasn't happened yet. Now let me set the record straight, I am not against NFTs, absolutely not. Matter of fact, I'm super bullish when it comes down to NFTs. I think it's amazing, the technology is great, it is here to stay, it will not leave. But what we're seeing right now in the market, that for me is a major red flag. Now just to give you a few examples of what could be great NFTs, I'm completely just making this up here right on the spot. Let's say Elon Musk will bring out an NFT. There's a ticket and a dinner for an hour, for example, and during the dinner you can ask him anything you want. Who doesn't want to pay a lot of money for that? Probably a lot of people, because let's be honest, who doesn't want to have a dinner with the richest man in the world? So that could be a great NFT. Or for example, let's say you're playing a game. You have a sword and a shield, and after 1 or 2 months you're done playing with the sword and the shield and you want to get rid of it. Then you could buy and sell those sword and shield as an NFT. But to be honest, what I draw the line a little bit is a picture of just something. Because for me, those pictures sold as NFTs are just NFTs with no utility at all. There's like no drip, no cash flow, no dividend that's coming out. Also with those NFTs, you're always depending on the next buyer. You always need to find someone who is willing to pay more money for it than you did. NFTs are also not liquid at all like stocks or cryptos. If I want to get rid of my stocks or cryptos, I just log into the broker, press on sell, and I'm completely liquidated. But for NFTs, you really need to find that one buyer who's willing to buy that NFT from you. Another problem that I have with the space is that most of the NFTs and the projects are very social media and influence based. In other words, as long as there's a lot of hype on social media and influencers are tweeting about it and making stories and all kinds of stuff, you've seen the valuation going through the roof. But the moment that stops, then you see a whole project just crumbling down and also the valuation. Next is that anyone can enter the space. Right now on OpenSea there are more than 27 million NFTs. And once everyone can enter a certain business model, then it gets very crowded very soon, and you see in general that the overall quality is usually going down. Matter of fact, I once made a video about this, how to choose the best business model, and we are walking through a handful of steps. There's also one step, the E from entry, where I'm also saying and explaining if you have a low barrier entry, usually that's a bad sign for the business model or for the space. Now let me give you one more example. Let's say your favorite car brand, Ferrari, is making a quote-unquote unique Ferrari, and they're going to say we are only going to produce 10,000 of these Ferraris. And one maybe has a black steering wheel and the other one has a yellow one, but they're pretty much all the same with the same engine and the same kind of looks. Would you then still buy that Ferrari? Most likely you would not, because you say there are 10,000 of the same. So why would you then buy an NFT if it's 1 out of 10,000 in collection, although there might be just a little bit of a difference between those NFTs? Now to also flip my bearish argument, you could also say, you know what Ray, it doesn't matter how many NFTs there are made, if it's 1,000 or 10,000 in collection. What is interesting is what is the demand from the market. If there are 10,000 NFTs created, but there are 10 million people who want to have it, you know what's going to happen. The price is going to the roof. Exactly the same we're seeing now with Bitcoin. There are 21 million, that will be the max, but still we see a huge demand in the market, and therefore the price is skyrocketing already for years. Now there are a few NFTs that in my opinion will always stay special. For example, the CryptoPunks or the CryptoKitties. Now in my opinion, it would not be very bad to own one of these NFTs if you can really miss the money. I know that sounds weird because those two that I just mentioned actually match all the negatives that I mentioned earlier before, like no cash flow, no dividends, hard to liquidate, etc, etc. But there is something special about these NFTs, and that is that they are the first. The first of something is always good. So let's say I would have here a ticket of a concert of Michael Jackson the first time he performed on Madison Square in the first row ticket. Mike Jackson is not here anymore, but the ticket is kind of cool. It's a cool story. And if I would say, hey, would you want to have it? He would say, yeah, I think it's a cool story. I would be willing to pay money for it. Right there, that is your NFT. So the first of something is always good. But as you know, right now, there's not a lot of first of somethings anymore. So with that being said, I don't think it's bad to buy a JPEG as an NFT if your motivation is something different than just selling it for more money. For example, you like the artist, you like the way it looks, you like the way maybe it feels if it's a real physical NFT, you like the community, you like what it stands for, you like what it does to you, then I think you have a good reason and good argument for yourself to really buy that NFT. Now what I mentioned before is that I'm very worried that this space is so much social media and influence based. Let me give you an example. Eminem bought an NFT not so long ago for $450,000, and according to this article he owns more than 166 NFTs from 32 collections. Now it's completely his money and he should spend however he feels like it, but the problem is these are people with a lot of followers from all over the globe. Millions of people on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook and you name it. So if once they start buying these NFTs from certain collections and make that public, then they might have, although they want to, have an effect on that collection. So people are saying, oh, Eminem bought this NFT, I should also have an NFT from that collection because I like him, I believe him, what he says is the truth, this guy is amazing, I follow him in whatever he does, and therefore unintentionally they could pump up the value of collections, and that is where I kind of have a problem with. Another example of influencers in the space is the guy called Ice Poseidon who ripped his followers off for $500,000 and just saying, guess what? You're not getting the money back. Another problem that I found in the space is that one person can create a bunch of NFTs and start buying and selling those NFTs on multiple accounts, but actually the buying and the selling is all one and the same person. So what happens is that the NFT is being sold for 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. And then at a certain point this person is saying, you know what, now I'm going to offer to the quote unquote public and I'm going to give it a discount, let's say 30,000. Someone is seeing that and saying, hey, this NFT is being sold for more and more and more money and now it's being sold for 30,000 discount. I can only buy this for 70,000. Thinking he's making a great deal, but the guy who's actually selling it just made $70,000. Now I've been trying to figure out if there's some way to track this, to reduce this or to block this at all. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it at all. Then of course we need to talk about valuation, because what is the value of an NFT? Well, you could say simply just whatever someone is willing to pay for it. And that reminds me of an important quote from Warren Buffett: price is what you pay, value is what you get. And he's completely right. Just because you just bought an NFT for $100,000, it doesn't mean that that is the true value of the NFT. Now let's quickly try to discover if we can use traditional techniques from, let's say, the stock market into the NFT markets to determine the value. For example, in the stock market, you could say the value of a company is 1 times the revenue or 10 times the net profit or whatever assets are in the balance sheet. Or if we liquidate the company today, whatever is left, that is what is its value. But for NFTs, that is just not possible. Another technique would be saying, hey, I have an NFT that's worth 200,000. I'm willing to sell it for 200,000, but there's no buyer. So is there maybe one buyer on 190, 185, or maybe 5 buyers on 175? There is no traditional order book like we see with stocks where we can see exactly how many buyers and sellers there are at a certain level. Now you can just list your NFT and you kind of have to hope that it will sell for that amount. Now with a clear use case, we could calculate the value of an NFT. Let's say we say this NFT will give an entry to the theme park around the corner. Now if you would say I'm going to the theme park 4 times a year, so I am willing to pay maybe the total amount that I would spend in an entire year. That could be then the value of the NFT. And if someone else comes by and says, you know what, I paid twice that amount and then after 2 years I can go for free, then you could calculate the value of an NFT. But a lot of these NFTs don't have utility cases. Therefore, we can also not use this method. So I think the answer for now is that it's very, very hard to determine the true valuations of these NFTs because the market is so young and there's just a handful of buyers and sellers. But I'm challenging you, if you look in the mirror, is it really worth it to buy a picture of an ape for 500,000? Now if you're interested in valuation and you want to track that, of course you can do that on the platforms where they bought and sold, for example OpenSea, but you can also check out websites like cryptoslam.io or debtradar.com. The next step in my journey, I'm trying to get the correlation between the NFT market and the crypto market right now. To be honest, the short answer is I could not find any correlation. Not between NFTs and the crypto market, not between NFTs and Bitcoin. You could say there is a little bit of correlation between NFTs and Ethereum because most of them are bought and sold with Ethereum on the Ethereum network, but still it's very hard to determine what kind of effect the NFTs will have on the Ethereum network because the Ethereum network is used for so much more than only just buying and selling these NFTs. It's very hard to say, hey, if ETH goes down with 10% or 20%, then we see also a correction in the NFT market. So far, there's no correlation. Of course, you could say, hey, I'm buying an NFT for X amount of ETH, which equals $100,000. If ETH would double in price, then actually in hindsight you will pay double the price, but of course it's always a bit of a guess and you have no idea what the future will bring. So if you're asking me who is the big winner, who is the one who will come out on top, that is, in my opinion, the platforms who facilitate everything. Does that ring a bell somewhere? I will give it a second. Exactly, the gold rush. It was not the gold miners who made most of the money. I mean, yeah, there were people who were getting rich, but were most of the time the people who sold the pick and shovels. And why are these platforms making so much money? It is because, for example, OpenSea takes 2.5% from every sale that is made through the platform. And in December 2021, they had a revenue of $2.9 billion. And with a fee of 2.5%, that will make a commission of $72.75 million. Now, if they will keep up this pace for the rest of the entire year, they will have a total sale volume of a little bit shy of $35 billion. And with a 2.5% fee, they will generate a revenue of $873 million over a period of 12 months. What the most mind-boggling about all of this is, they are doing this with approximately 70 people. And what I found just the most crazy about this entire space are the stories. I mean, you have these kids who make hundreds of thousands of dollars with selling pictures of a wheel. Then you have this guy who buys a picture of a rock for more than $1 million. This guy who was selling selfies of himself as NFTs, boom, overnight, millionaire. And then you have this chick, it is crazy, who is selling her own fart as an NFT. It's, I don't know if I need to laugh or cry, but this is just absolutely ridiculous. Now, if you ask me, this really reminds me of this whole ICO DeFi hype. It is where, with all due respect, the dumb money, so that's you and me, are getting into the space, no idea what they're buying, everything goes up, and then until it pops, and then you see the valuation completely crashing down. Because if there's one thing that crypto fundamentally changed, it is that regular people like you and me can get into projects very, very early. Compared to traditional markets, let's say stocks, that was never possible. So usually what happens is that big companies, banks and investors will get into startups, fund them, let them grow, and then once they go public, they are selling their stocks to you and me, the quote-unquote dumb money, the dumb people, the uneducated people. That is where they're making the money. But since you can get into an NFT super early, and the same goes for an ICO, you can really make life-changing money. But that is also a signal that, I'm sorry to say so, sometimes that is the uneducated part of the market, and therefore those are the people who have no idea what they're buying, what they're selling. And when I did my research, I try to ask as many people as possible, why are you buying an NFT? And all of them, and really all of them, without any exemption, said, I bought this NFT so I can sell it for more money later. That was the only reason, nothing else. And that just shows exactly the problem in the market. Apparently everyone is in here for the money. Now you could be saying, hey Ray, don't be so hypocrite, you are also trading cryptocurrencies to make money off it. Yes, that is true on a day-to-day basis. I am trading on the markets to make money so I can pay the bills. But on the long term, I am in here for many other reasons. For example, for Bitcoin. Once you hold Bitcoin, that is your vote against the monetary system. That is because you support this decentralized community. For example, the same goes for Ethereum. Once you own Ethereum, you own part of the network. So that's a complete different game. And once I am selling a bit of my Bitcoin, then I'm selling a little bit of my vote against that monetary system. So I'm asking you, once you sell your NFT for other than just more money, what is in it for the buyer? Why should he buy your NFT? Now, to prove my point, I have created a few NFTs. Now, before you're gonna say, oh Ray, you see this whole story was a plugin, you wanna sell your NFTs and become very rich with it? No, absolutely not. Matter of fact, I'd rather have you to buy none of my NFTs, but just to like and subscribe. For me, that's too much more value than you buying any of my NFTs. I mean, if you wanna buy them, of course, go ahead, but that's absolutely not what I want you to do. So let's log into my OpenSea account so I can show you what I mean. So right now we are in my OpenSea account, and as you can see, it's called For the Love of Crypto, and everything you see here is just completely made up. I made up the name, the text, everything. What my point is that every kid with a laptop can create a handful of these NFTs and start selling them, although everything is just completely fake. The text that I made here was, we are a bunch of misfits, artists, creators, unique persons, and above all, crypto enthusiasts. Everything we produce is one of one. Now, to be honest, that is true. Everything you see is one of one. What you're looking at right now, what I'm looking at right now, is a touchscreen, and all the NFTs are created with these 10 magical fingers. So let's run through them real quick. You see a handful of wolves, all with a different kind of camouflage. I made a painting here with some stripes on there. It sells for 1 ETH, but other than that, everything is selling for, I don't know, $80, $100, $120. Also a lot of just funny text, something like, can't help being a crypto troll, I bought this NFT because one day this piece will go 1000x, one day this piece will go 10x. I bought this NFT because I like the colors. I bought this NFT because I'm a baller. You know, I just had to run with it. Again, it is just completely thin air, it's completely made up. But if I would sell any of these NFTs, it would totally prove my point that anyone can buy, create them, although everything is fake and made up. Now, when will the bubble burst? It is anyone's guess, but if you put a gun against my head and say, Ray, pick one moment right now, then I would say the moment that the bull market for crypto is over. Now that sounds very weird because so far there has not been any correlation at all, but there are a few moments when there is a very high correlation for a very brief moment. For example, during the Corona dump. At that time, all the stocks were being sold off, as same as crypto. Although crypto and stocks don't have a high correlation, during that period of time there was a super high correlation. And I think the same will happen with the crypto market. Once the bull market is over and everyone is selling everything that feels, looks or smells like crypto, I think also the NFTs will be sold off, and then there will be a high correlation and everything will go down the drain. Or maybe the bull market in NFTs will be over after this video, after my crazy NFTs. Who knows? It can be anyone's guess, no guarantee of the management. But anyways, if you like these kinds of videos, then please show your appreciation by like, subscribe, click on the bell, click on all so you don't miss anything. Leave me a comment, share this video with your friends if you think that's useful. Thank you guys so much again, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.